mind, lovesick blind. Why do I climb these heights for you?
Welcome into the Day One Football Podcast. It's your host, Mike Nafziger, once again. Colin is still driving across the country. We decided to bring on a guest. We brought on Cardinals fan Jack Bryan. You can see his favorite player, Patrick Peterson, in the corner there. And Steve is here as usual. How are you doing, boys? Steve, I'll start out with you.
Same old. Kind of sucks that there's no football tonight, but we're making it through. Some big news actually happening in the last day since the last podcast, so I'm excited to talk about that. Jack?
Yeah, just glad to be back. I was guest number one, so I know you guys were waiting to get your best guest on again. I mean, ready to go for this one, I guess. No prep time.
What episode were you on before?
One that we talked about the Cardinals a bunch. I don't know what episode it was, but we talked about Dan Arnold a lot. I think we got some hate mail for that.
Oh, that was episode 11.
Okay, well then it was episode 11. Yeah.
No, I just pulled it up to see how long ago it was. It was episode 11. We're on 24, I think now. So yeah, moving up in the world.
It was before the season started, so it'd be good to actually talk about some games this time.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get into the A1 news. We start with injuries as always, and the big one that happened today, I guess it's not really an injury, it's more of an illness, and it was that the Atlanta Falcons shut down their facility due to a COVID outbreak. I believe there was 3 or 4 cases. I know today there was 2, one with a personnel and one with a player. Steve, you hate to hear this. What are you seeing with this?
So it's going to be very similar to what we've seen in the past. They have to have 2 straight days of negative testing to open the facility back up. So as of right now, it's not looking good in Atlanta for practicing. Honestly, do you guys know if Atlanta is supposed to be a home game this week? Because I have no clue.
Looking at the schedule, they were supposed to be at Minnesota.
Okay, so that game probably will be on then, most likely, as long as there's no negative, as long as there's a couple days with negative testing. So I wouldn't be too fearful right now, but we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the game. I'm assuming it's a 1:00 game, Mike.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So just keep an eye on it. Make sure you have some pivots if you need to. Jack?
I think we're going to be having Tuesday night football more than Thursday night football this year. Maybe we're going to be maybe seeing another Tuesday night game here. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. We already have 2 Monday nighters, so it better not get canceled because I have Calvin Ridley in 3 or 4 leagues, so I'm pretty much screwed if it gets canceled.
I have Thielen in the one league that I care the most about, so I would love to see him go against the Falcons this week because I have a couple guys on bye. But moving on to a story that we were going to talk about yesterday, but we decided we would wait a day to hopefully get Colin to comment, and it was that Baker suffered a rib injury this week. And when he was asked if he would play, he responded with, "Mama ain't raised no wuss, I'll play through it." A story did come out today that he was trending in the right direction. So definitely good news. Steve, you got anything to
add? Baker better freaking play because in a dynasty league, in Colin's dynasty league that I'm in, my 2 QB, it's a 1 QB league, but my 2 QBs are Dak and Baker. So if Baker doesn't play this week, then might as well just not even play this week. We'll see. My team's pretty stacked. I think that I could win without a QB, playing against some peasants in this league, some Windsor boys. They don't know anything about football. So as far as I know, from what I've heard, Baker looks good to play, and yeah, it's against the Steelers. Probably not a good matchup, but we'll see what happens, Jack.
Yeah, not much to add to that. You guys already covered it. I mean, Baker Mayfield, he's feeling dangerous. He's ready to go.
Exactly. So on to a couple more Browns players. These guys miss practice, and it's their two wideouts, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. Jarvis Landry, I believe, had a knee or an ankle injury, and then Odell was sent home with an illness. It was not non-COVID related, so that's definitely great news. But you know, maybe his extracurricular activities got to him. Steve?
So, Mike, I don't know if Jarvis just has every injury due to man like that we know of, because he's actually out with ribs slash
Oh,
hip.
rib.
So I don't actually know what he's out with. Jarvis is injury prone. We've known that he misses practices every year. I'm not concerned. Same with OBJ. The illness might be a little bit more concerning, but that's something we're just gonna have to wait on. I don't think we really need to talk too much, because these guys do miss a lot of practices between the two of them. So I think we're good to move on from these guys.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Jack.
So Odell's not COVID though, right? Because I have him
Non-COVID.
in fantasy too. So my God.
Yeah, there was also another one, and it was Adrian Peterson was also sent home with an illness, both non-COVID,
All right. No worries.
not too big of issues, but just something there. So DJ Chark left, I believe, the game with an ankle injury Sunday. He's missed practice every day this week so far, so maybe something to be slightly concerned of. Steve, do you see any concerns?
It's tough to say. He's already missed. He's already missed one full game this year due to injury. So keep an eye on him. He's playing against the Lions, so he should have a big game if he's there. But yeah, if he's not in the game, it's tough to pick a different pass catcher, because they all stink. They all suck, and we saw that when Chark wasn't playing. Nobody really took a big step up. Maybe LaVisca could be a decent play, but I don't know. I feel like Chark is the number one guy there, and without him, the offense just doesn't really move. Jack?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the Jaguars. I don't have any Jaguars players, I don't think, on any of my teams anyways, but I don't know. Not much to talk about with Jaguars and DJ Chark.
Yeah, I just have one thing basically. If DJ Chark misses this game, maybe take a stab at Laviska Shenault. He's done pretty well this year. I know the analytics people love him, and usually that means I love him. But I don't know. There's something that just puts me off. But moving on to some more wide receivers that missed practice. Juju and Deontay Johnson both missed practice this week. Any concerns there? Do you think Chase Claypool takes over?
Juju was full at practice today, so Juju's back full time at practice. Deontay was limited today, so I would be more worried about Deontay. He hasn't finished a game the last two games, and there was one game canceled due to COVID, or postponed due to COVID. So keep an eye on Deontay Johnson. I think Juju's going to be fine. Claypool, we had talked about Claypool already. I'm sure Jack wants to talk about this Canadian boy, but I don't know. I'm just watching him. He looks dominant, but at the same time, he's a rookie, and those blow up games they happen once, every couple of seasons. Like I can't see him being amazing again. I can see him being okay, but we'll have to see. Jack, what do you think?
Well, I guess Claypool has already taken over, right? What do you have? 3 or 4 touchdowns? Did he have 4 last week?
Yeah,
Yep.
he had 4.
4 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a crazy blow-up game, but I guess who do they have? The Browns this week. So, I mean, I could see that. I could see Claypool maybe taking a chance on him. I mean, it depends. If Deontay Johnson is limited, I think Steve said, so he's got to think he's probably on track to play anyways. So it could be tough. Juju, Deontay, and now Claypool trying to get targets, but I guess it remains to be seen who's gonna be active.
Yep. On to another receiver. It just seems like the receivers are struggling with injuries, and that's AJ Brown. He missed practice today on Thursday with his knee issue. I see this as rest. I really don't see a big concern, but Steve, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I agree with you. He actually looked really good in the game against the Bills, and he's one of the reasons why they won the game. Um, I do agree with you that it is probably just a rest day for him. He's coming back. This was his first game back from injury since week 1. So we'll see what happens. We'll monitor it, but yeah, I'm not expecting him to miss any more time as of right now, unless there's a setback in practice. Jack.
Yeah, I can't keep tabs on this amount of injuries this year. I feel like I'm in the dark about all these guys missing practice. So I want to pretend I know what I'm saying about this, but I mean, you got to lob me some easy ones here for the first few. Like
The next one.
we should have been
The
talking
next one.
about Lev Bell or something. Like you got to at least throw me a softball here. Like I don't know if AJ Brown missed practice this week or not. Like I'm not.
Hey man, we got to report on all the news. This one's going to be an easy one. This one I'll lob up to Jack. Dalvin Cook missed practice today with his groin injury. Are you seeing any concerns there, Jack?
Yeah, well, I heard he's out. I don't know if this is still true, but I heard he was out this week, right? Like he is missing this game apparently, according to something I saw. But
Mike Zimmer did not rule him out,
okay.
but it's expected that he will miss it.
Yeah. So Madison looked pretty good in the carries he was getting in that Seahawks game. I think that's going to be a big pickup for a lot of people who have buys and injuries. I think Madison is going to be. I mean, I think have him in at least one league. I'm trying to get a waiver claim on him. Yeah, I mean, I read that he probably is going to miss. I mean, he looked like he pulled a hamstring or a groin or something. He pulled up in that Seahawks game. So I think Madison's really going to get some solid points hopefully this week. I mean, could have 20 carries depending on how the game goes. But yeah, I don't know. What are you saying there, Steve?
Yeah, whoever is the starter, they're playing the Falcons, so it's
Oh my God,
it's gonna be a big game for whoever gets the carries.
this is never gonna happen. Then it's gonna be like another bye week here.
Yeah. So that might actually be good for Cook if it does get postponed until Tuesday, because as of right now, he's considered day to day, and the only thing is he hasn't been at practice. So if he logs a practice tomorrow, then he might play on Sunday if they do play Sunday. If they play Tuesday, I wouldn't count him out, because I mean, like Zimmer said, they're gonna see if he can play, and if he can play, he's in the game. He is Dalvin Cook. He's one of the best runners in the league. Mike.
Yeah, I agree. If he does log a practice, if they delay it till Tuesday, that's probably best case scenario. But on to a couple guys that did some full practices, and I know Jack really wanted this guy to play, I believe, last week, and it was Devante Adams. He logged full practices. He looked good. Should be playing this week. Do you guys got anything to add?
Yeah, I got something to say about Devante Adams. He's on my fantasy team. He's one of my fantasy teams, and I guess it turns out he's just not playing. He's a healthy scratch now. He's being healthy scratched in games. And even he's tweeting about this. So, I mean, in the off chance that Devante Adams is one of the day one listeners, I think that he should hit us up and tell us what's going on here. Because, man, I guess I lost out on some serious fantasy points. He put up 40 in week 1, and then he's just been a no-show. So what's going on with this guy? How is full practicing a news? But it is, because he's screwing with me.
I just want to throw him in there just because I know you were pretty pissed off. But Steve, you got anything?
No, I expect him to be back for this next game. As long as none of these games actually get canceled, which I'm really hoping they're not. But yeah, I expect him back.
So I decided to do one player to get back to practice for Jack, and I'm doing one for Steve as well. Melvin Gordon was back at practice today after his run-in with the police. What are we seeing here? I know you're our Broncos guy, but what news do you got from your sources?
My sources say that he practiced in full today, but his status for Sunday is still to be determined. Um, that is him being sent home from practice on Wednesday because, of course, DUI. Probably had to walk home. I hope they made him walk home. Like, could you imagine? I wonder if he still has his license. Jack, do you think we can get like Devante Adams and Melvin Gordon's number and just shoot him a text like, "Hey, what's going on with your life?"
Yeah, maybe we could get him on as an interview. You think? Are we exclusive enough to get NFL players? Probably not, but I don't know. I mean, did he just get the DUI, or was there anything else on there?
I think it was
Uh,
this week. Yeah.
yeah, he got the DUI and he was speeding. He was like going. He was
Okay.
going like 30 over.
Well, you just never know with these guys. I mean, that's why I thought I heard, oh, the Broncos are going to get Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon's going to be done or whatever. But I guess obviously that didn't play out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly haven't watched any Broncos games this year because of how garbage they've been playing with all.
Whoa! They beat the Jets.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know if Melvin Gordon's been playing good. Has he been good this year, Steve, or what's going on here? Like,
I mean, he's playing all right. He's not been amazing, but he's definitely been good, especially for fantasy. I mean, he put up a 25-point game. He's put up a 16-point game. He put up a 14-point game.
yeah, I was wondering if he had more points on his license than he had in some of the fantasy games, but
Definitely against the Bucks. He definitely he only put up 7 there. So
yeah, okay. Well, I guess we'll let the legal system play out for Melvin Gordon. Hopefully he can beat it.
Yeah. On to basically, John Brown was back at practice in full. Who knows how long? Because last week he was practicing in full and hurt himself again. But I don't think we really need to go over that too much. Just monitor the situation. But one of the top fantasy wide receivers, Chris Godwin, was finally back at practice after injuring his hamstring. He logged a limited session. I'd say to keep an eye on that. And really, that's all the news that I have. Steve, do you got anything else?
back-to-back limited practices. Just, if you're logging back-to-back limited practices during the week, it looks good for you to start, but that is all dependent on if you re-injure it or aggravate it before the game. So that I think it's going to be a game time decision, which really sucks. Waiting on these guys last minute before you take them out of your lineup if they don't play. So that's something you're actually going to have to wait last minute to see if you can play Godwin. And if he's in the lineup, you have to play him. He's dominant. He's going to be a top 5 guy. Yeah, he's going to be a top 5 guy pretty much regularly. Slot guy for Brady is just, it's not even fair. Jack?
Yeah, nothing really more to add to that. Steve, I think, and Mike, you guys already got that one. Not much to say on all these.
All right, so we always start with injuries. We probably could have started with this news because it's probably the biggest news of fantasy, and that is that Le'Veon Bell decided that he is taking his talents to Kansas City to play running back along with Clyde EdwardsHelaire, the absolute dominant rookie, and one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Patrick Mahomes. I absolutely love this move because this is going to finally allow the Chiefs to run the ball in the end zone because Clyde cannot seem to do it. He's had so many goal line carries and has barely even converted on them. I like the fit. I think I don't know how I see it for fantasy, but I see it as a great football move. I'll go to Jack because you were wanting this signing to come up in the news. So what do you see with this?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, with Clyde there, I don't think Le'Veon is going to all of a sudden become like a number 1 back or anything. But I mean, the question I was kind of wondering what you guys think. Does like, is he? I mean, I know he's on a better team, but I wonder how much this positively is going to impact him fantasy wise, like just in sheer points. Because yeah, he is getting probably getting more volume in the Jets offense, but you got to think in the Chiefs offense. I mean, the guy might actually get a touchdown here and there because they might actually score a touchdown here and there. And I don't know. I mean, I think I had him as a depth guy in one of my leagues, so I'm kind of excited to see him get a change of pace. And you never know with injuries. And I think was it not the Chiefs? One of their running backs just I think just left for the year, just opted out or something in the middle of the year. I'm not sure who it is, or maybe he's been hurt. But yeah, I think there's spots there for him to get a solid role in that offense.
Yeah, one of their running backs did opt out this year, so there definitely is some room for Bell. But it kind of sucks for people that drafted Clyde early because Bell is going to eat into a lot of the snaps, and I don't think it's going to be like a 70-30 Bell to Clyde, or I think you're going to see a lot of 50-50. The only thing is, like, I think Bell is a better runner, but they're both very good pass catchers. So I don't know who's going to get the third down work. I don't even know if either of them are going to get the third down work. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be fun. It's definitely a great football move because he is a great running back, but it does kind of suck for fantasy because you're taking high end volume away from some guys on a very very good team. Mike?
Yeah, I see this as an upgrade for Le'Veon Bell. I think that he will score more points than he did on the Jets, although he will have less volume because the Chiefs have a great running game. And I mean, Andy Reid is an absolute offensive mastermind. He's going to find situations, whether it's Le'Veon Bell in the slot, whether it's Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire on this field at the same time with Anthony Sherman. Who knows? But I think that it'll be a great season for him. I mean, he got out of the Jets, which is basically a black hole. And I mean, I see this as really only a positive move. Maybe a slight dip for the first couple weeks as he gets used to it, but I'd maybe even have him as a buy low candidate. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a buy low, mostly because you haven't seen anything from him this year. When he did play for the Jets, he was pretty much irrelevant, and he was injured for a lot of it. So I think you could the only hype is that he went to Kansas City. And I think all the owners that have him right now are going to want to wait and see, or they're just going to want to sell him really, really high. And I don't want that. So I think you wait a week because he's going to have to get adjusted to the offense, and maybe 2 weeks. Wait for it. But I think end of season, he's going to be he's definitely going to help you win some fantasy championships, in my opinion. Jack?
Yeah, I hope that's true, honestly, because with all the injuries and everything, I could definitely use him to actually put some points up. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be tough with the splitting of carries. Probably, I agree with I think what Steve said. It was about a 50-50 role. I could see something pretty similar to that. It might come down to who's going to be in on those pass catching downs. I wonder if that'll be split as well. But I don't know. Like in a PPR league, that could really swing which one of those guys is going to be the number one scoring fit back out of that team.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything you guys wanna discuss of any news or injuries?
No, I think we got quite a few injuries there, quite a few guys. Steve, did you have anybody that you wanted to touch on?
Drew Lock and Noah Fant are back in practice. So let's go. Philip Lindsay should be ready to go for Sunday. And the Broncos against the Patriots are going. The Broncos are going to win. So definitely take the Broncos in that matchup if you're betting. Mike, we can move on to whatever the next segment is.
The next segment is what we decided to spend 45 minutes on. The last time Jack was on, the segment that Colin said made his ears bleed, and that is the Cardinals Report.
Oh my God,
Um,
we're doing this again?
we're gonna do a quick update. You basically said that that they were set up for a good year, I believe, and right now they're sitting at what is it?
3-2.
3-2.
Yeah.
Are you still happy with the
Yeah.
team? Are you
I mean, it's good. I think there's such highs on this team. They beat the 49ers week 1. I thought, "Oh my God, what a great team." They go 2-0. But then they lose to the Lions. They lost to the Panthers. I'm not even going to call last week's game a win. Like they beat the Jets. So I don't know. Like they're a team with they can play when they play to their potential. They can be a great team and they can hang with most teams in the league. But they also can easily lose to the worst teams in the league and a backup quarterback. Which, if we get into any of this betting stuff, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about the Cardinals line, I think, because even I think that's a little bit debatable. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much into the Cardinals report here. I feel like the Dan Arnold thing is what really threw people off last time. And I want to say, I think I might have been right with the Dan Arnold thing, though. He is not good. Like, he is not a good. He's just a guy on the team. Like, he's like a second stringer. So, everyone's probably turning off the podcast right now. But I don't know. I mean, the one news, this has not much to do with fantasy, but Chandler Jones, he was a runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he's out for the year with a torn bicep, I believe. So that's tough to see. But fantasy-wise, Kyler, I've been trying to get him in some leagues. No one wants to trade him to me. He's been killing it. His running game, real good. I don't know. What do you guys – have any of you – serious question. Have any of you watched a Cardinals game in any form? No. Probably
if,
not, right?
if you count them coming on Red Zone,
Yeah, okay.
then yes. But
Yeah.
I've not watched
It's not
an Arizona game.
It's not a primetime game. The only game you'll watch you probably watch the one that's on Monday night. At least you might see that one. I mean, they're playing the Cowboys at the Monday night at 8, I think. So the game before that will be Chiefs and Bills, which is going to be debatably two much better teams. So yeah, I mean, not too much more to say. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs, the extended format, but we'll have to see how it goes. You have to ask Colin if his ears are bleeding for this one. I'm trying not to go too much into the Cardinals here.
Steve, you got anything to ask?
Oh, there's no way.
I wanted to bring up Kenyon Drake, and I know you own Kenyon Drake in at least one, maybe two leagues.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about his fantasy output, considering he was being drafted in the second round in a lot of leagues? Like, where do you see him end of season? Do you think it was just a rough start, or how do you feel about Kenyon Drake right now?
Yeah, so Kenyon Drake, yeah, I have him in 2 leagues. He'll still be a little bit relevant because he gets the volume. But at this point, I think just watching the games, I think Chase Edmonds is probably going to be the starter next year. I don't know if they re-sign Kenyon Drake. This kind of reminds me of, and it's weird because this almost reminds me of David Johnson being unable to get more than 2 yards a carry. And then Kenyon Drake comes in, all of a sudden, we got a good running back. This year, I don't know. Maybe it's back to that thing we talked about with his precautionary walking boot. No one even probably remembers this, but he had a precautionary walking boot for the first week. Maybe he's hurt. I don't know what's wrong with him because he looks a bit slow out there. I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, if it was me, it's hard because I don't want to trade him. I've had people try to trade, and I don't want to trade him because his value, I feel like, is at its lowest right now. But I'm also concerned it could go even lower if he loses his starting role. So I'm not sure what to do with Kenyon Drake. I'd say hold on to him for this year. I think he's going to get points, but it's mainly just due to volume. I mean, last week he got a touchdown, and that's pretty much how you're going to get points through Kenyon Drake this year, I think. There's no way you have any more Cardinals questions, Steve.
Oh yeah, I have a couple.
Ask me about
we,
the betting. Let's talk about the Cardinals betting line.
no, I just wanted to highlight DeAndre Hopkins and how dominant he's been this year. He's the number one wide receiver in PPR formats, number 5 in standard. Um, and as much as he's been helpful in fantasy, I haven't watched too many of the Cards games, but I have seen the highlights of him on the field. He just looks insane. Why is he only being targeted like 9 times? Why don't they target him like 15 times a game?
Well, I mean, you have seen that. He had like 15 catches in week 1, I think. I don't know. I mean, they got to move it around a little bit, but it almost seems like he's their guy when they need a catch. That's who they go to. They're looking for those big plays. They're looking for first downs. When they're on third down and they need 10 yards, that's who they got to go to. I mean, we have seen if you have him like I think Dan has him in our full PPR league, and this guy getting 10, 15 receptions a game. I mean, that's insane. So I believe he's number 1 in the league for yards and receptions. I'm not sure if that's still accurate as of right now. It was, I think, a week or two ago. Yeah, he's been awesome. Honestly, exactly what Kyler needed. And I think that's really going to help Kyler's stats a lot as well. It already has, but he needed a guy that he could go to that's a true number 1 receiver.
And just to highlight Dan Arnold as well, superstar tight end on the Arizona Cardinals. He is right now tight end 39 in PPR formats. So he didn't even break the top, 32. But he had one good game. He almost put up 8 fantasy points against the Panthers. So there's your Dan Arnold rundown. And Mike, do you have any questions for him?
I just have one question. It's not really fantasy related. It's just the sheer amount of interceptions that Kyler's throwing. He has 8 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. I know he has 5 TDs on the ground, so that kind of helps a bit. But are you concerned at all with the interceptions that he throws? I think he threw like what?
Yeah.
3 the one game, and then he's basically had only one game where he didn't throw one.
Yeah, the one game he had 3 against the Panthers, I think, in that, or maybe I don't know.
Lions.
Panthers. Anyways, that's pretty much what lost us that game, 100%. I've seen a couple of his picks. Like the one last week was on a tip, so I'm not going to fault him too much for that. But yeah, definitely a little concerning because it's not something we really saw too much from him last year, which is kind of odd. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Maybe we got to have some Kyler Murray is short jokes, and that's why it's hitting he can't see over the line of scrimmage. Maybe that's what. I think I've seen that on some of the games. The commentators are asking that question, but I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he does seem like he's forcing it a bit this year. Maybe that's just the nature of the offense. I don't know what's going on, but he definitely has been throwing. That game where he threw 3, he could have easily had 4. I think they dropped 1 too. Hopefully that trend doesn't continue throughout the whole year, but it hasn't looked very good so far.
Yeah, that's all I got. Steve, you're good?
Well, he's on pace for 20 interceptions this year.
Not 30, not 30 and 30.
So that's not good. He what did he throw last year? I think like just over 10, I think. So we'll see what happens. I'm still excited for Kyler. I think he's still been dominant in fantasy, mostly because of the rushing touchdowns, but he's going to be a top 5 guy end of season. We all know it, and I think they'll figure out the interception problem because you saw in college he is a very accurate quarterback, so I'm not too worried.
All right. So now we get into some gambling. We usually tell you 1 or 2 good bets that we like this week, and the guest will go first. Jack, what's your best bet of the week?
All right. I guess can I go with 2 quickly? Is that all right on here? Or
go ahead. It's your world. Go ahead.
I don't know if this is I don't know if I really know. The first one I wanted to bring up was the Cardinals-Cowboys game, and it's not necessarily my best bet of the week, but this one is a line that I think a lot of people were a little bit confused about, And I see that we have it here as they're a 1.5 point favorite. I saw it even earlier in the week. I think it was even more, like 3.5. I don't know what I've seen, and I'm a Cardinals fan, but I don't know what I've seen out of the defense that means that we're the favorite here. I know the Cowboys defense sucks too, but this game is easily going to be 30 something to 30 something. I don't really know that what the Cardinals. I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking about this one. Would you even bet this game, or is this one of those untouchable games? Like, I'm not sure.
So the over is set at, I believe, 55.
54 and a half.
54 and a half. Oh, it's up to 55 on the website that I'm looking at right now. But I'd probably just bet the over, the under. I could see the Cardinals winning because the Cowboys defense is just awful. But I don't know. It's a tough one because with the line going down, that usually means that people are betting on the Cowboys. So I don't know. It's a tough one for me.
I think
Steve?
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I think you're right. I think that the money must be moving to the Cowboys, seeing that the Cardinals are a favorite. And that's even more of an issue, I guess, to me, is you can definitely see that a lot of people feel like this line was set wrong, I think, to start. So I don't know what you think about it there, Steve.
This is a game that I wouldn't bet on personally, unless I was just going with the over on it, because I do think it's going to be a high scoring game. Both of these defenses aren't that great. The only I would probably still take the Cardinals to win it, but it's going to be close, and the Cowboys could end up winning it. So I wouldn't put my money on it as a for sure thing. So yeah, I'm probably not looking at that game for easy money.
All right, I'll give you my bet of the week if you want here, and I'll stick to NFC West. Smash the Rams to cover 3 points on the 49ers, who just got scorched against the Dolphins of all teams. Just got blown out by the Dolphins. And this was with Jimmy G starting, and he got pulled, I believe, for being terrible. The Rams, they're not a bad team. The Rams are they played relatively well this year. I like kind of what I've seen from the Rams. I think that 3 points, I don't see them having a problem covering that spread. That's probably my bet of the week.
I love that bet. I absolutely love that bet. Steve, what's your bet of the week? I know you're not usually a gambler, but
I'm more of a DFS kind of gambler, but I think the Colts Bengals. I don't like the Colts too much this year. I think the Bengals are going to keep it closer than 8. So that's what I'm saying. I don't really see anything. No, I'll just stick with that one. I'm not going to go too in depth. What do you guys think, Jack? What do you think about the Colts Bengals game?
Yeah, that's actually one I looked at too when Mike just sent me these lines like before this, because I don't know. I don't know if I've seen anything good out of the Colts offense that makes me want to give them an 8-point favorite in a game. I mean, especially after last week, Philip Rivers not looking too good. Bengals, I think the reason this line is so bad for the Bengals is they just got embarrassed by the Ravens. Like, they looked horrible. But, I mean, the Bengals have shown some decent performances in other games. Like, they've kept most of their games kind of close. Like, against the Browns, they were right in it. So I think that's a good bet to maybe – I don't think I'd take them to win it, but I think I'd take them to cover the spread. Maybe you think +8 Bengals? I don't know, Mike. What do you think?
yeah, I'd definitely take Bengals +8. I'd sprinkle a little bit on the money line because it's not bad. Maybe put half a unit, but
Life's too
maybe
short.
yeah, and my bet of the week is Bears money line because the Panthers stink. No, I'm kidding. My bet of the week is the Packers -1 at the Bucks. It pains me to say this, but if the Bears can beat the Bucks, the Packers can smash the Bucks.
Yeah.
Like 1 point for the Packers is nothing. Aaron Rodgers is still on his fuck you tour, so I mean, I don't see him doing nothing but balling out against the Buccaneers defense. So pains me to say this, but my bet of the week is the Packers. I'm looking at the over unders real quick. I did see one, and it was oh sorry, it was the Cardinals, the over on the Cardinals. But yeah, that's really all I got. Do you guys got any more that you want to talk about?
No, I agree with I agree with what you were saying on that Packers game. I mean, Packers are still undefeated. I don't know if I've really think that Brady Bucks team has really clicked yet. So yeah, 1 point kind of surprises me that they're only a 1 point favorite. Maybe just the prestige of some of these teams, or the lack of prestige for some of these teams, really influences some of these lines. Like, I think that's been the trend behind a lot of all of our bets that we've said tonight. So I mean, I don't know. You got to throw down one parlay that picks the winner on every single game every week, right?
Responsibly, of course, but yeah.
Oh no, everything. You just empty your account. If you win, you're a genius. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just looking at some of these games, see if there's anything we want to talk about. I mean, Giants against the football team, they're a favorite. I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to talk about that one, but I don't think I would take the Giants. I think the Giants are probably the underdog in that game. I mean, at least Washington has a win.
they have a win, but I don't know who's going to be at quarterback for them. If it's Alex Smith again,
that's true.
They're done. They're not going to win this. But that would be more of a I bet the game before, like at 12 when I know who's out there. But that could also move the line a bit. But honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. That's not.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up the Broncos Patriots. Looks like from the betting line, the Broncos are going to get smashed, but the Broncos actually. Now this is me talking of the Broncos, but they've been pretty close. They got beat by the Bucks pretty badly in week 3, but they played the Steelers. They lost by 5. They played the Titans. They lost by 2. Those are 2 pretty dominant teams so far this year. They beat the Jets in week 4, and then they had a bye week last week because of COVID. So I don't know. I think 9.5 is a pretty big spread for the Patriots, considering Cam Newton hasn't been at practice for who knows how long, right? So I think that's another game to look at. Obviously, I'm not taking the Broncos to win. I think it'd be stupid to take the Patriots or to take the Broncos to win against the Patriots, but that's another game I would look at to put some money on.
Yeah, I agree. I think that might be a similar thing where people are just scared off of the Broncos, right? They've had so many injuries and they have so many guys and don't even know who's going to be out there at QB a lot of games. Is Drew Lock, you think he's making the start for this one? Or
I think so.
Yeah, so I mean that could move the line. The Patriots have played well though. I mean, with Cam Newton in there, I guess I can see why they're putting that line where it is, but yeah, it might be a little excessive for sure, considering some of the other ones we've seen.
Yeah, I if Drew Lock's out there, I think I'd probably take the Broncos with the spread, but I don't know. That's one of those games where if I was forced to bet on it, I'd probably go Broncos, but I personally would not.
Yeah.
But that's just me. What do you guys think of the Bears being the underdog against the Panthers?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm biased because the Panthers beat the Cardinals, and I don't think the Panthers are that good. But I mean, I got to give it to them. They've been playing pretty well. Teddy Two Gloves out there just killing it. I don't know. I feel like the Bears. I think people just don't buy the Bears. I don't want to trigger you here, but I think I don't know how they win some of these games. Like I could just as easily see them being 1-4 as I could see them being 4-1. And it kind of goes to your point, which Mike, you've always said, like they're going to win 10 games or they're going to win 3. And it seems like they always either eke out the one score, or they come back. And that's why I just don't think they just don't trust the Bears. And I don't think they trust who's going to be their QB even. I mean, it's going to be Nick Foles probably this week, but I mean, he's had games where he plays great and he has games where he plays like trash. So what do you do with that team?
He's just warming up, baby.
Oh my
He's
God.
just warming up. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I see them beating the Panthers because I see their defense taking over and Nick Foles scoring maybe 20 points, and that's probably enough to win it. But yeah, that's probably it. Steve, what are you seeing with this?
I think if the Bears are going into the second half losing, Nick Foles always somehow. I don't know how it. Second half, if they're down to the Panthers, they win. If they're going into the second half up, I think the Panthers win. Both of these teams, I don't like watching. I think they're both not fun teams to watch. So yeah, that's. Um, I actually would probably bet on the Bears to win this. I don't know why. I just everything about the Panthers just makes me want to say that they stink, but they're winning games. What's the Panthers record right now? Is it 3-2?
I
I have no
believe so. I think they won 3 straight without CMC in the lineup, but I can quick check.
Yeah. I mean,
1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're looks like 3-2. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if I had Bears, I would bet this game based on who's the underdog, I think, because I don't really think either team is like clear cut gonna win this. So if I had to bet it, again, I probably won't, but if I had to, I think you gotta probably take the odds, the better odds you're gonna get on the Bears. I mean, they're coming off a good win where they somehow kind of hung around in that Tampa Bay game. I didn't foresee them winning that at all. They got down early, but they kind of just hang around with the defense. They scored, like Mike said, they're going to score like what 20 points, close to, and they kind of just eke it out there. So I could definitely see that. I don't think I'd want to take the Panthers as a favorite in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Do you guys want to get into a quick DFS segment? I know, Jack, you don't really play
Yeah.
daily fantasy, but
I
you can maybe look at a couple guys that have nice lineups, and we can tell you how much they are. And basically, you want to go like relatively unknown running backs that have a good matchup, or consistent guys, and then same with wide receivers. But I I just want to get into my running backs. I love both of these guys' matchups, and they're relatively cheap. And that's Myles Gaskin and DeAndre Swift. Myles Gaskin plays the Jets. He's the number one running back for the Miami Dolphins. He's 5,400 this week. Still a solid deal. And then DeAndre Swift with the Peterson illness. If Peterson ends up not playing, I think he's a smash in every single lineup. Steve, do you got any other guys, or do you want to talk on them?
I don't mind Devonta Freeman playing against Washington. Um, Washington's defense has been pretty good, so it's going to be a tough call. But I think with his pass catching ability and with DraftKings with the full PPR, I think he's a good start there. I love the Joe Mixon against the Colts, even though the Colts defense has been good. Just a big Joe Mixon fan. I don't even know if that really matters, but there's a couple good. I don't know. I haven't really looked too much at DFS. I usually grab it on a Friday night when I'm having a couple beers because it makes me feel better about myself. So I don't mind David Montgomery against the Panthers. I think he could have a really big game. The Panthers run defense is awful, so he'd be a go-to at 5,800. So yeah, my two guys if I'm looking for cheapish running backs, I'm looking at Devonta Freeman and David Montgomery. Mike.
Jack, do you got any?
All right, you got to tell me the price on these, but I just
All right.
looked at some matchups. So QB, I'm assuming Fitzmagic is still playing. He's playing the Jets. I don't know if he's got a good price on him, but I wonder if that could be maybe a bargain.
He's not bad. He's 5,900. For context, top QBs are about 7,000 to 7,500. So decent deal, yeah.
Okay, well, that's not too bad for swinging in random there. And I'm also wondering about the price of Michael Gallup this week. He's been kind of on the down low, so I was wondering if he could be kind of a sleeper against a Cardinals defense that isn't too good. And I don't know. Also, it seemed like him and Andy Dalton had a bit of a hookup last week.
Usually the ones I play are like they're usually only Saturdays, 1 to 4. But I can check on Michael Gallup quick. If
Yeah,
you
we,
give
we
me,
usually we usually just play the Sunday day games
I'm
for
just
the most
throwing you
part.
guys for a loop here. Oh my god. Well, you know what? Just discount Michael
hey,
Gallup. I just ruined the podcast.
hey, it's worth a shot. You saw the matchup,
Now I thought
and but do you got any wide receivers now that we're on wide receivers, Steve, or
Uh,
quarterbacks?
I'm looking at wide receivers, and I think I'm gonna try to this week. I'm gonna spend down on RBs, and I'm probably looking for a cheap QB because I see two pretty big name wide receivers, Hollywood Brown, who's sitting at 6,500, playing against the Eagles, and we know how the Eagles have been. And then there's Kenny Galladay's at 6,200, and he's playing against Jacksonville. So I really, really like those two. Um, and then who knows? Like maybe spend up on somebody else. I haven't really. Maybe Terry McLaurin 5,700 against the Giants, but we don't really know who's playing QB there. I don't mind Jerry Jeudy at 5,500 against New England. Couple good guys. Mike, do you have any wide receivers that you're really looking at?
Looking in the bargain bin, I see N'Keal Harry against Denver. I see him getting a lot of targets when Cam's back, if he's back. If he's not back, then maybe not. And my boy Preston Williams at 4,700. He's playing the Jets, and the Jets stink, so expect a decent amount of points. But as for spending up, I really do like Will Fuller. Honestly, he's 6,800. He's a solid play. But that's really it for my wide receivers. As for the quarterbacks, I love Drew Lock if he plays. He's at 5,400. He's playing New England. They're 26th in point. Like they're, I guess, what would that be? Seventh best points against or whatever. They let up a lot of points at the quarterback position. They also have played less games if no, maybe not. And then Kirk Cousins at 6,100. I like him against the Falcons, but I'd monitor that game. Do you got any?
Yes, Matthew Stafford. I want to have the Stafford Galladay stack on this one. Now he's sitting at 6,300, so a little bit more expensive. I do like the Drew Lock start because he is so cheap right now, coming back from injury. So he'd be something to look at. And yeah, I mean Tannehill, he's at 5,900. I would definitely take him against Houston. He'd be another good start. So, but my go to guy this week is Stafford against Jacksonville. So, do you have any tight ends you're looking at?
Not really. I mean, like obviously Mark Andrews is there. TJ Hawkinson probably wouldn't be bad at 5,300. But maybe at Evan Engram at 4,900, but that's really all I see you.
Yeah, I really like the Evan Engram start. We saw him last week. Mike Gesicki against the Jets would also be a very good start. Um, I know Ertz has been having a rough year, but he's been dropping in DFS. He's only 5,000, so he'd be another guy to look at. I don't know if I would take him. And then I brought this guy up last week, and he really didn't do too much. But Eric Ebron, if any of those wide receivers are out, I think Ebron could have a breakout game this week. And then yeah, we brought up Cameron Brate last week with OJ Howard, and he didn't have a terrible game. Actually, did he have a? I actually don't remember. Yeah, he had 9.4 fantasy points, so he had a decent game. I think if you're going to spend down at 3,500, Cameron Brate would be a good start as well.
Are you running the Patriots in every single lineup, or what defense are you typically running? Because I'll be running the Patriots against the Broncos or the Washington football team against the Giants.
I was thinking either the Washington football team or the Giants against the Washington football team. I think either of those defenses could be a good matchup. They're playing against each other and they're both pretty bad. We don't know who's going to be starting at QB. So I think that the Washington football team is probably my number one go-to, and then the Giants would be after that. Broncos are going to light up the Patriots, so I wouldn't take the Patriots ever.
All right. Jack, do you got any defenses that you like, or any tight ends that you like this week from the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't play DFS at all, so I don't think anyone's gonna care about my advice, considering I just prefaced it with that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I like the ones that you already were saying out there, Mike, but I don't know.
I mean, that's why I went against Steve every week. So
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
All right. To close us out, follow us on Twitter at day1football. Follow us on our Instagram. To see the video version of this podcast, go to YouTube, search up Day One Football Podcast, and throw us a subscribe, throw us some likes, maybe get the conversation started in the comments. Any little bit helps us out. We'd really appreciate it. But Jack, what song are we going out with? We always go out with a Small Town Strip Club. As you know, he's the guitarist. What song are we going out to?
I guess you should go to the new one then. Hey Shitty, right?
All right. For the second day in a row, you're gonna listen to some Hey Shitty.
Hey.
All right. See y'all later.
Peace.
Yeah.
Didn't always get along, but I'll tell you, them country folk